Well, good day, everyone. Welcome back to WTF Walk the Floors. I'm Stephanie Ledger, Chief Excellence Officer of First Rate Hospitality, and joined with my co-host, Michèle Kline. How are you, Michèle?
I am doing great, Stephanie. Thank you so much. And the topic we have today is very exciting to me because I do have a little bit of an HR background. I am Michèle Kline, President of Kline Hospitality. Thank you for being on the other side. We hope we can enlighten you with our crazy stories. And I know that you have some of these crazy stories of your own. So without further ado, Stephanie, do you want to give us a little hint of what today looks like?
Oh, we're having a party today. It's a party, it's a celebration.
Yes, to the party.
Yes, party for one.
Party for one. Wow, annual reviews, yippee, annual reviews. I am so excited, said no manager ever.
No, yeah.
But why is it, Stephanie, that annual performance reviews are not exciting to anyone? Not the person who's being reviewed, not the person who's actually performing the review.
Absolutely.
What is going on with that?
Well, the first thing is the assumption that this is going to take forever, especially if you have a large department that is over 20, 30 employees, all different levels of managers, assistant managers, supervisors, line level, different positions of line level, and they just now assume and look at the bigger picture and all of that time that they need to making sure that they're putting in their notes, going through the process of it, while also to operations of the hotel is still running.
And different levels of approval. And then when you're like 2 or 3 months into your annual performance review, guess what? It's now budget season. So it is so exciting, right? But what are a few things that we can do to make it more exciting, to make it lighter, to make it more engaging? So we'll talk about those. We'll give you tips on how you can make it lighter, more engaging, more motivating for everyone. And first, of course, drum roll. We have to share with you our WTF story. So Stephanie, go ahead and share with us first.
All right, so for my WTF moment was with these annual reviews, that making sure that they're actually happening, and keyword is annual. So if you have an employee that has been part of your organization for multiple years, and then you look into their file and find out that there is nothing in there, and it's basically just collecting cobwebs in their file when there should be a lot of paperwork, considering this is what had happened when the EEOC decided to come in and saying that an employee had been terminated wrongfully. And now we are going through a legal situation. This wasn't just internally, this is now with legal. And then when they're saying, our legal team was asking, okay, can we have now the employee's file so we can then be able to showing that their performance was reviewed and that they understood the standards of their position. Well, I was like, oh yes, absolutely, let me get that file for you. And yes, there wasn't even a file with the person's name on it. And so then to even saying, okay, this employee now has been with the company for over 3 years, and there's nothing of an annual performance review. So I had to go back and tell the lawyers, WTF, I don't got anything. And so then the employee was able to win their settlement because of paperwork and annual reviews not being in the file. So WTF on that.
And I can only imagine how much that cost, right? Yeah. And the amount of other team members that learned about this, that are now either sneaking into the HR office after hours to retrieve their files, so there's nothing there for them and they can make a buck on it, right? Or the amount of team members that are now, upset about this situation, like how could this happen? So regardless of which boat you're in, it's still the same perfect storm. And here's the thing, we have to be prepared.
Yeah.
So my WTF type of moment is really, I want to say, upsetting. So I was working with a client who needed to bridge some gaps between operations and human resources. And I happened to land at their beautiful kingdom right around the time of annual performance reviews. So in hopes of understanding how the process worked at that particular organization and what can we do from one end the other end to make it all work better, where we're bridging some gaps between HR and operations, I come to find out that there was a history of year over year managers who were upset about the process. They were not buying into the process. They just didn't want to deal with it. And it had nothing to do with the fact that it's a process that takes time, that is time consuming while you're still operating. And then you go into budget season, but it had to do with the fact that every time they wanted to rate someone higher than X, there was like a 5-point system. It was 1, 2, 3, which was the preferred. And then 4s and 5s, there were no 4s and 5s in anybody's files. So when I go back and corroborate what this person was telling me, like, why, yeah, and such doesn't want to deal with a reviews either, and these others. So there was like 3 very senior tenured leaders who were not buying into the performance reviews with the effort that I was hoping they would, because they weren't able to score the superstars the right way. So then you had the superstars falling into the same bag of the good employees. So imagine from an engagement standpoint, the risk that you're running when you run a process that way. So that was definitely a WTF moment. I was able to turn it around through some tips and, putting a few things in place and digging a little deeper with the executive team as to why this is happening. I'm not sure if you knew this was happening. And of course, they all knew it was happening, right? But I was able to educate them on the risk that you're running when things like this go on, and how they could benefit if they were able to unlock the 4 and 5-point system for those superstars, and how they could, start moving the needle from an engagement standpoint and making that cultural change that they were so much seeking, and come up on top. So that was my moment.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
And well, definitely too is, not the engagement, but also too just the morale as well for these superstars, and just, good employees of being like, oh, we're just all going to be here mediocre on everything, and just, how that creates in the morale in the department as well, just brings it now down also when you should be celebrating.
In an industry where we celebrate going far and beyond. That's what we preach in hospitality. You want to go far and beyond, day in and day out. So yeah, it was very concerning when I found this out, for sure. But I was able to pitch it to the executive team to where they understood it. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the leaders that were behind this got back on board. So it ended up being a great experience. But how many companies are out there that are in the same situation, but not really addressing it the right way?
Yeah.
Whether it is because they're, concerned about speaking up, or they just give up, right? Because it's been this way for X amount of years.
Yeah. And they're also too worried about their own job, as a manager and their performance review. So then looking at, okay, this is what you're giving for your employees. And then now it's your time to getting your review, and worried about that as well. And I think that also too adds on to the stress when they're hearing the annual review, because it's not
Yeah,
just what they're doing for their department, but then also too that means it's time for them as well to receive their annual review.
absolutely. And one of the tips that I wanted to share today was get in the habit of speaking with your team throughout the year.
Yes.
Don't wait until performance review season is there. Talk to them, give them feedback, develop them, right?
Yeah.
So the downside of that, when you have an organization where they're not allowed to score the superstars high, is that, which is part of what one of the three managers was telling me, I have been giving amazing feedback to this person and the entire team and using a specific team member as an example to the rest. And all of a sudden I get to annual review and I'm not able to score that person where they should be.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm creating this confusion. And he had a very, very valid point. So very, very important example or tip is speak with your team throughout the year.
Yeah.
Have your sit downs, have one-on-ones, maybe once a quarter if you're a higher up, but speak to your line level employees once a quarter. Have those moments where you're able to provide them with the feedback along the way so that they can also make the changes that they need to make along the way. So by the time you get to performance review, the review is a lighter process.
Absolutely. And I would have to say that's probably the number one thing that I see on the employees' feedback is saying, I didn't receive any feedback throughout the entire year. I didn't know the positive or negative as well. I would say that's, what I see the employees are writing on there. And so I do agree that, yes, breaking it down to a quarter, okay, we just got out of high season. What did we do well? What do we need to work on in preparation for next season? How was everyone's performance? Now we're in the slow season. It's a different morale. We're just trying to making sure that we're getting by until we're into the next height of season. And now, okay, now how are we getting up to it? And then also too for the employee of, okay, if you're doing the annual review, maybe during a slower time and they're a rock star because it's not as crazy. And then you forget, what was going on throughout the year as well. And it's, there's so many times those annual reviews are really based upon the last 30 days. Oh, yeah, attendance was great. Oh, you're really stepping up. Maybe because it is high season and everyone needs to step up, and not, talking about what was going on the last 11 months as well.
Yes, I agree. And how many times do you hear servant leadership in hospitality? I think it's one of those topics that we preach, we teach, we speak,
Yeah.
we breathe, we live. Servant leadership. You're not serving your team if you're not providing them with the right feedback at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And then if your organization does annual reviews, don't wait. Have your own conversations. Document those conversations so that by the time you get there, even if you don't have to report back into a specific system or platform every quarter, have your own internal conversations with your team so that you can serve them better.
Yes, absolutely. And giving them the tools and feedback so then they on their career journey can now go into the next step of their career of taking on a supervisor position or a manager position, just like you, the one that is giving the review, and remembering what it was like to be in their shoes of what feedback you wanted to know so then you can improve and take it to the next level, on your career journey.
Right. And understanding where it is that you want to go next.
Yes.
How do we pave the way? Engagement. We're in the era of not finding staff
Yep.
for any type of segment of the hospitality industry. So engagement is crucial.
Absolutely.
Development is crucial. But
Mm-hmm.
how are you going to engage and develop a team member if you don't know what they expect of the next year with
Yep.
your organization? What do you expect of the next 2 years? Where do you see yourself in 3? And how can I help you get to where you need to be? What does that path or that road looks like, so that we can start developing you to get there? So, that way your employee engagement is going to increase. You're going to increase retention. You're going to increase the possibilities to promote from within. So the benefits are endless.
Absolutely. And they're going to the employees are going to start feeling more comfortable coming up to you and saying, "Hey, I'll take that shift," or "Hey, I know that checklist is long," or that having to do the audit on linen or on your alcohol or food items, and being like, "Hey, let me do that. Let me see, how do you do the ordering? I can do that." And it just starts building that engagement and positive in the department, and now the employee is starting to learn more. So then when you're looking at saying, okay, we have a supervisor position open, and like how you had mentioned before, of hiring within, they already know the property, they know the systems, you already know them as a person.
Yeah, you've built trust at that point.
Exactly. But if you're only talking to them about this once a year, probably they may be looking somewhere else to go to where they are hearing from other hotels of saying, oh yeah, we do it on this, and this is the feedback, and now look at where I am. And now they're gonna look elsewhere, which is unfortunate, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I agree. This is great. Is there anything else you would like to add, Stephanie?
Just I think also too is the assumption with annual review. So there is properties that they wait until December, January, because it is on the calendar year that they do the annual reviews. And us being here in Florida, this is our height of season. So annual review, what we've done in the past of different properties I've worked with, is based upon their hiring date. So then that is great, where now you're not having to focus all in the height of season or when it's budget season, and then being able to now spread it out throughout the year with all of your team members. And then also too, if you're the director or the manager, relying on your supervisors as well. Start engaging with them, because they're the ones too that probably have the most day-to-day interactions with their line staff too, and getting them to have taking that responsibility as well, to then now moving up to the next level. So those are the two things I think of. One, being able to spread it out throughout the year, so you're not all like, okay, it's the end of the year and now you guys spend all this time doing it, and then you pretty much are just copying and pasting, which is unfortunate. And then relying on your other team members in leadership if you're a large department.
I agree. That's great. So anyone watching this, if you are that type of leader, change your ways. There are benefits behind it. Embrace the process.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate nugget that we're here to tell you today. Embrace the process, because it makes sense. It
Yeah.
makes sense. You will see it on your bottom line at the end of the day. So embrace the process. You've got this. And
yeah, and reach out to us, audience.
yeah,
Reach out to us. We've been there as the operator, as from the HR standpoint, as from the line level employee as well. And so if you're just now ready to rip your hair out, and having that WTF moment, reach out to us. We can definitely get you on to the right path, or also to just giving you some encouragement as well as you dive in on filling out those performance reviews.
absolutely. Thanks for that, Stephanie. All
Well,
right, everyone. It was enlightening as always. Make it fun. We are in a fun industry. Keep it light, keep it fun. Enjoy the ride.
absolutely. Thank you, Michelle. See you all later.
Bye, everyone.